What's going on YouTube? It's your host Bruce GNT, and for today's video, we're going to go over a TikTok video, a little bit about it. I don't really use TikTok, to be completely honest. I think it's a cesspool for brain rot and just a lot of degeneracy. And I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm better, but it's like I can't doom scroll all day. I really can't, and it's really hard to like be on this app all day. I don't know. I just can't get into it. But essentially, I went looking just for things I could talk about, share with you guys. And I came across 304 Talk. I heard people talking about it, and I seen like a video on it on YouTube, and I was like, okay, this is crazy. Yeah, the first few videos I saw were jarring. Like, I don't know how this is on TikTok, and anyone could look this up. Like, it's crazy. And like, I couldn't even show it on YouTube. Like, it's that bad. But this person right here, as far as I looked through a few of her videos, I scanned through a little bit. Her name is Chris K Music One. I'll put her profile in my description below. But she's I don't agree with her talking points and a lot of what she says. I saw like the first minute of this video, and I definitely don't agree. But I'm just gonna give her respect and reference and show where I got this video from. And I may not agree with it, but I gotta give her credit. So let's jump in.
So a lot of people are going to get mad at this video, and I'm about to burst a lot of your matzos. So what is courting and dating? By definition, what is courting and dating? Courting and dating is when a man pays financially for dates and quality time with you in hopes of sex or a relationship, maybe even a commitment to marriage. So dating and courting is when a man financially pays for dates and quality time with you in hopes of sex or a relationship, right? Now, what's prostitution? When you're a 304, you go on dates. It's called doing dates. You're dating. Prostitution is going on dates with a man who is paying you financially for either sex or a relationship. Because some wealthy men will literally pay you to be their girlfriend. So let's refer back. What is courting and dating? Courting and dating is a man paying for dates and quality time with a woman in hopes of getting sex or a relationship. What is prostitution? Prostitution is a man paying for dates to receive sex or a relationship. He's paying you to go on dates with him for sex or paying you to be in a relationship with him. What is marriage?
So before she jumps into it, no, that's not it. So if you look up what courting is, and I did this because I was watching the show Bridgerton, and I didn't really know what courting was, so I just looked it up. Courting is usually the thing that it makes is different from dating. Courting is when you go through the family. So usually the man's family and the woman's family, they converse with each other, and then they set up, hey, look, your son is going to court my daughter, because the man is the one that does the approaching all the time in courting. That's the rule. And it's usually done over a specified period of time. And there's usually not really a paying for. It's just they're spending time with each other, getting to know each other's hobbies, likes and dislikes, usually over the course of a year. And there's no intimacy involved, no sexual intimacy. Like, that's courting. That's what makes it different from dating. Dating is kind of like a hodgepodge, is where it's like, okay, it's not done through the family. It's done between the two individuals. It can be done in the pursuit of marriage or relationship or whatever have you. Sex could be involved, or it can't be. You just wait till marriage, just like how it would be in courting. And yeah, you could pay, you could not pay. It all just depends on your flavor and what type of date you're going on. So that's not the same as sex work, because sex work, you're paying the woman. You're not paying, like, if I go on dates, right? Sometimes I don't pay because they pay for me, or sometimes we're just doing something that you don't need to pay. So that's not the same thing. Maybe I'm a little bit lost, maybe I'm a little bit confused, but yeah, like, I'm in sex work, I'm paying the woman to perform an act. If the act doesn't perform for whatever reason, 9 times out of 10, depending on what type of like situation went down, I get my money back. If I go on a date and I don't get sex or relationship, I don't get my money back. You can't. So words mean things, right? You can't put an equal sign between two things and say, well, they're equal because they have similarities. An orange and a grapefruit are similar, but they're not equal, because equal means same. Equal means same. Equal does not mean similar. It does not mean that. You can't have an orange next to a grapefruit and have an equal sign in between them, because they're not the same thing. They may look the same slightly. They may be citrons. They may grow the same type of seeds and everything like that. The rind may even peel the same, but they're not. Taste, the vitamins they provide, the color, all that is different. So you can't just say those things are equal. Yes, dating and well, she said she's about to get into marriage. I don't know what that's about to be about. But yes, dating and courting has similarities, I guess, because the whole idea of a man or woman going out and then sex may or may not be involved in the dating, not the courting. The same as sex work, I guess you could say they're similar, but that doesn't make them equal, because they're not the same thing. This was a Boondocks episode at one point, like years ago.
Okay, but if they not all hoes, then why I got to pay to take them out to eat then? I mean, I'm paying. That's payment. I don't know, because that's just what you do. You meet a girl, you take her out to dinner, but you're not paying the girl. You're paying the restaurant. But I'm paying, which makes her a hoe. Why don't I just give her the money I was going to spend on dinner, and that hoe can go grocery shopping?
Yeah, you're paying the restaurant. You're not paying the girl.
Marriage is buying the whole woman as your own. You buy her as your own property, so you take her off the market.
I really don't want to be stopping this, because I'm only like a minute and 42 in, and it's 8 minutes total. We don't buy people. You know what? I may be lost. I don't know where I am. I'm pretty sure I'm in the US, but we don't buy people anymore, especially like publicly, because whatever goes on in the shadows, yes. But we don't buy people anymore in the US. We don't own them as property. As far as I know, I don't know. Maybe there's a roundup that I don't know about, but we don't do that. So I don't know. Maybe she's being facetious. I'll give her that. Maybe she's being facetious, but I'm pretty sure we don't. That's not what happens. Maybe before. Oh yeah, most definitely. But in 2024, about to be 2025, we're not buying people.
Market. She's not dateable anymore. She can't do dates. Other men cannot pay to date her for sex or potential relationships, which is no different than prostitution, if you're catching my drift. What is doing dates? Prostitution. So what is dating? Prostitution. In all scenarios.
Same, but different, but still same.
So there's a saying in my family, open mouth, story jump out. I say that to say that when I listen to people speak, especially when they have certain points or stances on things, I try to think about what's the purpose of them saying this and what they're trying to get at. And this early on, I can see that she's not trying to put dating and marriage on the same level as sex work. She's trying to put sex work on the same level as dating and marriage, because either based off her platform, I'm guessing, either people are coming at her a certain type of way, making her feel bad or whatever have you. And now she's trying to do the whole, well, you're no better than me because we all do the same thing. And it's like, that's something that people do. It's like a gaslighting type technique to be like, okay, well, how can you be better than me if it's all the same? But it's not the same, and it's almost like she sees people as objects because, and like I said, I'm not trying to come at her in any way, type of form, but I'm guessing she's done sex work. When you treat your body like an object and you use sex as compensation transactions, whatever you want to call it, you don't you see things differently. The way your mind is wired is different. So I can see why she sees things from like a jaded point of view of like, okay, there may not be any such thing as real love, or, men just use women for their bodies. And it's like, okay, yeah, they do have those men like that, but that's not the majority. I'm not going to sit here and say that men are just looking to date just for the sake of, getting sex or, quality time. They do it for a whole lot of, and especially when it comes to marriage is a whole different ballgame.
The same transaction between men and women is occurring, regardless of the label. They intentionally make these ambiguous labels to make one seem more civilized than the other. they make one seem more acceptable than the other, because prostitution is straightforward. You know for a fact that you're going on this date and you're receiving compensation for it, and you're going to perform the service or act that this man wants. Courting and dating is a gamble. These men are investing money in you, and they're not sure if they're going to get anything in return, which is why most men just prefer prostitution overall. Because
Yeah, I gotta stop her. So to say most men prefer prostitution over dating and marriage is to say that you did a poll where you met most men within the US, we'll just say the US, and they told you that I prefer to pay for sex and companionship as opposed to just going out and getting it myself. Because what this becomes is that, like, that phrase where you stand too close to the elephant and you don't really realize that there's a whole forest around you. All you see is his skin. And this happens to everybody. This happens to all groups, because it happens in the red pill community as well, where there's people that are in these environments where they're ingratiating themselves with certain types of people, and they're only meeting these type of people, and they attract these type of people because of their work or whatever they're doing. That's why you have people in the red pill talking about all women are hoes, they all have OnlyFans, they all have this, when it's like, we know that's not true. We know not all women are hoes. Like, we know that. We know not all women have OnlyFans. We know that not all women are out here just being degenerates. That's something that we know, because if you're going to tell me that every single last woman you come across of appropriate age is out here just starting it up, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. No. So it's the same thing. When you work in this line, when you are in this line of work and you do this type of stuff and you're encountering some of the, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say the most degenerate men, because it can be, but not all. When you're coming across the type of men that would pay for sex, of course, in your mind, you're going to think, oh, well, this is all men. And it's not. It's really not. I know quite a few men. I know some men that probably would pay for sex, but I know more men that don't and wouldn't, And when you're in that life, it's like strippers. I talk to like a lot of strippers because I talk to people just to gain perspective. You'd be surprised at people I talk to. It's crazy. It's like when I talk to strippers, some of them feel like most men are like that. And it's like, no, there's a lot of men that don't go to strip clubs. There's a lot of men that don't even like strip clubs. I can only spend unless I'm talking to someone, making a friend, I can't be in a strip club for more than 30 minutes because I get depressed, because it's like, wow, I'm really just sitting here watching women of all ages just take their clothes off. Like, this is insane for money. Like, that's just kind of crazy to me. But to just get back to what I was saying, like I said before, I can tell that the objective was to show that, hey, you're no better than me because I did or do this. You're doing the same thing, just a different term, just a different, label. And it's like, you can't put a blanket statement on marriage and sex work and just say it's on marriage and dating and say it's exactly the same as sex work. For some people's relationships, that may be the case. I've met women that have been in relationships where they would just treat it like an object. I definitely have. I've also met men that felt like they were just used for their pockets in relationships. I've met that as well. But I've met everything in between when it comes to there's a perfect balance. These people actually care and love each other and support each other within that marriage or relationship. So to put a blanket statement and say, oh, it's all the same thing, I think you're coping a little bit. Because there's no way I can't say that. I can't say there's no way you look at it and see the same thing. Whatever may have happened in her life to give her this point of view, valid, but I can't look at that like that and just see that as being like, oh, well, it's because men rather just pay for, sex as opposed to go on dates. It's like, no.
Because dating is basically prostitution without the guarantee of the transaction being completed. This is why men don't really like to date. They rather try to get it out of you for free or just pay a prostitute.
I know quite a few men, the reason they're not dating is not because they're just trying to get some sex for free or for like a low rate. It's because they're tired of the whole scheme. They're tired of the scheme of dating apps, and they're tired of the climate of dating, because dating has become this superficial thing on both sides, not just men, but women as well. It's become this superficial thing where people aren't really going for people with the intention of love and support and respect. They're just going for people to see what they could get out of them. So, you know what? I guess you could say she's right in that sense. But unless she's talked to men of all ages, sizes, ethnicities, and like different areas, you can't just come out and say, yeah, that's why they don't want to date, because they just rather get what they can for free, a low rate, or just pay a sex worker. That's not true. The men I know that aren't dating, they're not dating because honestly, they're trying to get their money up. They're trying to make sure that they're like a well-rounded individual. They tried dating, and guess what? They got rejected for some superficial things. Or some women just aren't interested in them. This is a whole slew of different reasons, but to say it's that's preposterous.
Because dating is no different than them going to the slot machine at the casino and gambling. Just like it's no different for you. Every time you spin the wheel and get the same man every time in a different body.
I'm really not trying to pause it as much, but she's dropping like a lot of like juicy tidbits that I can speak on. And I might be doing like another video because what she said right there, I think can give way to see like her experiences and what she's dealt with men. Because I've come across a lot of women, some men as well, but a lot more women that talk about all men are the same because they keep encountering this same type of man. And I don't victim blame, but one thing I do is that I look internally. I try to think about certain things from a different perspective. And when I was a little bit younger, I self-actualized a little bit. I looked at myself. I looked at the good, the bad, the ugly, and the truly horrid parts of myself, my personality, and just who I was as a person. And I owned it. And I said, you know what? This is me. And the things that I want to change, I had to be able to change. And the things that I can't change, I got to be able to make it. I got to adjust it so I could fit not just within society, but within whatever group I'm trying to be in. And I say that to say that I used to come across a certain type of woman. And then I sat down with myself and I said, you know what, Bruce, you really got to think about what is it about you? Because we don't like to admit it, but it's something about us that attracts these type of people. There are just certain types of people that are attracted to you and that you attract, as opposed to every man or woman just being the same. I have female friends and some male friends that are continuously getting with the same type of person. And it's like, okay, how does this keep happening? You keep like, it can't be that there's just no good men out there, because I talk to them. I know them. You even know them. You're just not interested in dating them. But what is it about you that has this, that pulls these type of men towards you? Because I know the type of women that I attract, and I know why. So I've seen, and it's stay true. The women that have liked me the most, that have had the most attraction to me, fit within this criteria. They do every single time. And then I looked within myself and I thought, okay, what about me is attracting this type of woman? And I got brutally honest and I thought about it and I said, well, this is what it is. And I think a lot more people need to do that. And it's hard and it's a little bit, it's difficult to look at yourself in that way and just be honest and say, you know what? Some of the predicaments I'm in, my fault. If you're being abused or anything like that, no one deserves to get treated like that or go through that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when it comes to, let's just say you keep dating a cheater or you keep dating someone that is emotionally unavailable. That's what I'm speaking about. My last relationship, I knew that the person I was with had those same qualities and traits. And I still was like, oh, well, you know, it's fine. And I see how that turned out. And at the end of it, I didn't blame her. I said, no, this is on me because I knew better. I honestly knew better. I knew what I attracted. I knew why I attracted it. And I still said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I put myself in that position. And it's not like that 100% of the time for everyone, but we have to own our shit and be honest with ourselves. If you keep finding man or woman that you keep coming across the same type of person time and time again, you have to sit down and go, okay, what am I doing? It can't just be that it's everybody else. It can't.
So you other women who are not sex workers think you're a high-class, high-value, civilized lady in comparison to the prostitutes. Ma'am, you're just an escort. You're a sugar baby. There's times I've dealt with old white millionaire men who had a shrimp, and they couldn't even keep it up anyway because they were old. And 90% of the time, they were paying thousands of dollars just to cook for you and talk to you and go to the store with them and spend time with them. Literally, majority of the time you're spending with them is not even sexual. They're literally just paying you for your company, which is exactly what dating is.
Yet again, she's trying to cook, but she doesn't turn the stove on. No. The reason you were with that millionaire old man that had the shrimp is because he paid you. In the dating world, a woman's not going to be with him even if he gave her money because she doesn't have an interest in him. You know, the difference between dating and sex work is that If I gave you enough money, you're gonna do what I want you to do, as long as it fits within the boundaries of, you know, your contract or whatever you want to call it. Dating doesn't have that. If a girl isn't interested in me, she's not gonna go on a date. Doesn't matter if I give her money, you know. And if you want to know how I know that there's a difference between dating and sex work, and I'm pretty sure she knows, if someone said, okay, cool, I'm not gonna give you money, let's go on a date, and she was to retort with, well, you had to pay me first, I'd be like, well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I'm just not going to pay you. I'm just going to pay for the dinner and everything like that. And I doubt she'd be down for that. You know, and like I said, I'm not trying to insult her or anything like that, but this is just dumb. It's dumb. Women aren't out here. And it's like I said before, because in the beginning, after I paused it, you see how she was like, oh, all you women that think you're high class and high civilized, is like, that's what it was. That's what this video is about. You feel a way, possibly, that someone came at you in a certain type of way or made you feel like you're less than, and now you're trying to be like, well, it's all the same. And it's like, it's not all the same. And we know it's not all the same. We know it's not all the same, because women wouldn't go out with someone that they're not interested in, even if money was put on the table. I could go up to 10 women and be like, yo, I'll give you $1,000, and just go, They're going to look at me like, I'm not a prostitute. Why would I do that? It doesn't matter. They don't have a price tag on themselves. You know, and to try to gaslight people into believing that, oh, it's exactly the same thing. And I looked through some of these comments. The fact that some women are thinking like this is, and I'm not going to absolve men of this. Yes, some men make it bad for women and other men, because it's the way they treat women is like, whoa, okay. But like I said, I'm not going to just paint this whole segment of dating and marriage with a broad brush of, oh, it's prostitution. It's really not.
So a lot of women who bash prostitutes don't realize that they're either A, giving up their body to a man for free, B, doing the exact same thing just with a different label, or the worst one, C, she's paying for the man and she's a fucking trick. A lot of y'all are tricks.
So the only thing I think she was right about when it came to that part was B, because she's right. A lot of people are doing that without the label, and because they have those women that legit just go out on a date with a guy just to get food or just to get like a little bit of money. So I will say that B, is pretty similar to sex work. I'm not even gonna front about that. But A and C, like A is like you get nothing out of it. So the prospect of getting, you know, family support, you know, having healthy communication, being with someone that you're equally yoked with so you can build on something, because you're not building anything with a sex worker. I mean, you're building up to bust up. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not building anything. That's the whole point of a relationship and marriage, is to build something, to leave something behind, to foster a good family so they could provide and add to society in a healthy way. That's the whole point. Sex work doesn't do any of that. It just helps you. And then, so how can you relate the two? Like, you can't, like I said earlier, you can't just say, well, they both have men and women going out on dates, and sometimes it leads to sex or relationships, and be like, oh, it's the same thing. No. So is a drug dealer a pharmacist? No, they both sell drugs. Like, a drug dealer is not we know that, but you wouldn't see someone making that, you know, like, you can't just say that.
Wife is owned property. It means you took her off the market. You purchased her. She's no longer on the market to be dating. The prostitute is purchased. She is owned. Dating is renting and leasing you. Marriage is owning you. Because remember, women are property. Either way, you're a property.
Like I said, I don't know if she's being facetious, because there's no way she's saying that and actually meaning, like, women aren't property. They're people. In the year of our Lord, 2024, about to be 2025, I didn't think I had to say that out loud. Women are not property. They're people. Okay. And like I said, I'm not trying to talk about her mental, but it's like, either she really believes this, and that's sad. Like, I feel sad, because this is how her and some other women think and see not just themselves, but men. And it's like, okay, but that's not true. You know, there's a lot of men out there that don't feel like they're purchasing their wife, and that you guys aren't property, because you're not, you know. Or she doesn't believe what she's saying, and because she's trying to really make people go, well, I can't talk about sex workers now, is because it's like I'm one, and I wouldn't want to talk about myself, because you do know that you're not leasing or renting people when you go on a date. That's not a thing. And you're not buying anybody when you marry them. That's also not a thing. Like, that's not how that works. And I feel like she's just saying that it's the same thing because she knows that in prostitution, that's what happens. You're renting a person, within their job. That's what goes on. And I think that's why she's saying that, because why else would you say that when it's crazy to me.
Prostitute. Either way. But they give you different labels to make you feel better about yourself and make you feel superior to other women. So you're also less educated and less knowledgeable on how men work and the world work. And you don't realize you're actually getting the short end of the straw. They don't want you to know that it's all the same thing because they want you to give up more for less. This is why they bash prostitutes. Because one, if they were a woman, they would be a prostitute.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Look, I'm not trying to stop this. We got around 3-ish minutes left. No, we don't. Whatever men you're encountering that feel that way, sure, cool, whatever. That's their deficiency, whatever they got going on. They're out there. I know they're out there. I'm not stupid. But that's not the majority of men. And to make a blanket statement and say, well, men are pretty much just tricks that want to buy and own women. Whoa. And you know what? This is a symptom of what's going on in the dating world and just all of this shit. Because to make a statement like this and believe it, I hope to God she doesn't really believe it. But it's crazy. It's wild. She's wilding. Because there's no way that you can look at that and think that men, if you believe that men know that dating and sex work is the same. They just don't want you women to know because we want to keep y'all like in this oppressed hierarchy of sex workers being down here and then everyone else being up there so y'all could fight against each other. It's like, that's not what we do. Men don't do that. Like, for instance, dating and sex work is so different is because when men hear that the daughter's going on a date, they're protective, they're a little bit worried because they don't know what's going to happen and everything like that. But they encourage it to date, to marry, and everything like that. You know what men aren't encouraging their daughters to do? Sex work. So to say that it's the same thing is troubling. It's very troubling. Yeah, that's just troubling because, let me.
Prostitute, and every man that I know has turned into a trans woman has started an OF and has started engaging in sex work. So absolutely, men wish they can turn into women and have vaginas because they feel like they would do a better job at being a woman than we do. I can't.
What the fuck am I listening to right now? What the fuck is this? Is this the opposite of like Freud? Like, is this the opposite of like penis envy, vagina envy? Men have vagina envy now? Holy shit. Like, I didn't know. So about the whole, trans women that, go into sex work. Like, it's the same thing what I said with like the standing too close to the elephant. Because you're ingratiated with this environment and this, work atmosphere, the people that you encounter are going to be of a certain type. The trans community is very small. And the amount of trans people that go into sex work, I'm guessing, is even smaller. My fingers aren't touching. It's just that small. So to say that, oh yeah, men, and you know what? I gotta give men some flack. You wanna know why? Because, and I know this because I talk to men and we talk about it. We make jokes and say, oh man, if I was a girl, I'd be making so much money, I'd be doing this, that, and the third. We say that because we know that we're joking because we wouldn't do that. We're just making fun of the fact that we feel that it's easy for women to just go out here and make money. And if you're a broke woman, that's kind of stupid. Is it mean? Yes, a little fucked up. But that's what we're doing because that's the joke that we're making. Not because a whole lot of trans women that go into sex work doesn't mean that men have secret vagina envy and the minute they turn into women they could they would do sex work and that we want to be women. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I can't tell you how many men said, oh, if I were you, I would be rich, I'd be a millionaire, because they'd be selling it. They'd be Marilyn Monroe. They'd be Black China. they would be Kim Kardashian in a motherfucking heartbeat. But also because they know these women are smart, these women know the game, and they're not naive and they cannot be fooled. They know dating is simply the same thing as prostitution. They just know not to take men seriously on the level of believing in this fairy tale love, so the transaction is much more straightforward than with quote-unquote courting. But prostitution and dating is literally the same exact thing. It's just one, you're in it for quote-unquote love, and the other, you and the man both have a very straightforward agreement of who you both are, who he is, what this is. There's no pretend love that's going to be occurring here. Also, FYI, majority of prostitution does not occur on the streets. Streetwalkers, that's literally the lowest level. There is a hierarchy. That's why Kim Kardashian is a sex worker. Most women in Hollywood are prostitutes. Lori Harvey is a prostitute. They call that an escort, a high-value escort, like Marilyn Monroe and Anna Nicole Smith. So when most women think about prostitution, they're picturing women on the corners selling their body, and men made up this lie about $40. No prostitute ever sells anything for $40. Maybe.
So she said a lot there. I do agree that some of those people that she listed, I don't know about Anna Nicole Smith. Some of those people that she listed off, they're essentially prostitutes without the label. I'm not gonna front about that. To say one that most women in Hollywood are I don't think that's true. You know, there's a lot of women in Hollywood. I don't think most of them are prostitutes, but okay, go off. And what she's saying, like the streetwalkers, she's not wrong. Yeah, that's like a thing in like a lot of places, because I've seen it. Like I've traveled like a good portion of the US, mostly the East Coast. I've been out to the West Coast like maybe like twice, but all on the Midwest and the East Coast, I've traveled along there. You know, there are streetwalkers, and yeah, I guess you could say they're like on the lower rung of prostitution, sure, but they're still a thing. And she's about to say like, you know, no one takes $40 unless you're a crackhead. No, there's people that are not crackheads that do stuff for $40. So yeah. And she's saying how men made this up. No, they didn't make it up. It's a true thing. There have been women throughout history that have sold their box for $40 or $40 equivalent. Like we didn't does she think that men are just some boogeyman that just making shit up about women that just like, yeah, we're gonna hold them? No, like some of it is true. I've never paid for box. I don't gotta do that. No. My game is tight. But I've seen and heard like, yeah, you can, and it's not a crackhead. It's just not cheeks out. I would want to clap, but yeah, like legit. I feel like she's giving herself away, because it sounds like she's upset that someone or people came at her because she's bringing up points that wasn't really related to her argument. Because you see how she brought up the whole $40 thing. I guarantee someone was like, oh, I bet you I could pay $40, but they probably can't, and they probably wouldn't be able to afford her. No offense. And they were probably saying, oh, you probably on the street and everything like that. I probably saw you in the street. Because she's bringing it up, and it's like, that wasn't part of the conversation. We were talking about like the equivalency between dating, marriage, and sex work. So it's pretty much showing that that's what happened. That people came at her, and she's kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to show you guys it's all the same thing. And it's like, no, it's not.
A crackhead, I don't know. Maybe she gives a handy for 40. But an average meetup for the average girl is $250 to $350. And I've received thousands before just spending time with men. So, let's get this straight. Nobody's getting $40. But men want you to think that, because being with them is less lucrative than actually doing sex work.
It's like I said, and this is sad. It's almost at the end, thank God. She really feels like, well, obviously, she's treated her body like a commodity. And she sees people as objects or just like a way to commit a transaction, because right here, she's trying to say that men want you to think that sex work is bad when it's not bad. It's equal to dating and marriage, because dating and marriage is less lucrative for the woman than sex work, and less safe. I'm saying this genuinely. Who hurt you? And what has happened to make your whole viewpoint on relationships, marriage, and all that stuff so warped? And I think maybe she was married for 10 years, and I don't know if it was bad or anything like that. I hope not. If it was, I'm sorry. But you can't throw a blanket statement out there. For some people's relationships and marriages, yes, that is the case. But for the most part, it's not. And I'm not going to sit here and try to make it seem like it's the same thing or it's less safe. You're telling me that when you're selling your body, it's more safe than going out on a date, and it's less lucrative selling your body is more safe and more lucrative than being in a relationship or marriage, one that's healthy. Because something that people do is that they tend to go to the most negative aspects of that thing. When I think of marriage, I'm not thinking about like, getting talked down to. I don't think like that. And a lot of people have this negative mindset. They automatically jump to, well, I don't want to be chained up and like a slave. Who the fuck said that? You just be with your person, building on something, having a good relationship, fostering love and support. I'm a little bit mushy when it comes to that shit, but yeah, and
They don't want you to know that the sex workers are smart and have it figured out. They also hate sex workers who don't have a pimp. Because if the man is not benefiting from the woman, right, then he's jealous, right? And he's angry. And he wants to control that. And he wants to stop that. So he bashes it and makes these women seem like they're evil and horrible and makes you seem like you're bad if you want to be one too.
Huh?
I don't even know what to say. This went from being sad to dangerous. And I'm saying it's dangerous is because it's almost like she's trying to peddle and give credence to being a sex worker. Look, do whatever you want to do, but sex work is not something I want normalized. I don't want it to be a thing to where you ask a classroom full of children of any age, doesn't matter. Hey, what do you want to be when I grow up? I want to be a firefighter. Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a sex worker. I don't want that. That's not a world I want to live in. You could do what you want to do. Sex work is the oldest profession. I'll give you that. But it's not something that should be propped up within society to where it's like, oh yeah, like it's just, no, we should not do that. We should not do that. At all. Like, I understand some people get pulled into that life because of circumstances, and honestly, my heart goes out to them. I'm sorry for them. And I don't know what happened in her life. Hopefully it was nothing too bad. If it was, I'm sorry. I hope she gets the help that she needs. But no, I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like it's okay for someone to go into sex work. We need to bring back shame, because having people think it's okay to just be out here doing certain things that goes against their benefit, that goes against their own good, is not good. People don't realize, in this work being done on it, when you treat sex like a transaction and you don't realize what it does to your body, because it does it to men the same as women, but women is more intense because they release, I want to say cortisol. If it's not right, I'll put it on the screen. And it's a bonding agent and whatnot. So what happens is that when you start to continuously have sex and you bond to all these different type of people, it starts to break that down, and you start to look at sex as less than what it really is. It's a connect. Yeah, okay, it's to procreate, yeah, but it's to make a connection between you and the other person that you're with, and to build a strong bond. That's what that's for, And when you start breaking that down, it's like dopamine. You just need to get more dopamine hits, higher, to where you feel nothing. It's the same thing. You start treating sex like it's just a thing. You don't even care about it. You can't bond with someone. And look, I'm guilty of it too. I'm out here doing things that are against my better judgment. Cool. That's the price I have to pay. I understand that. But I'm never going to peddle people doing things that's going against what's good for them. Never. And I would never judge someone, but I have to call out stupidity. I have to call out what's going against people's just good. And that right there, that thinking of, yeah, men want you to think it's bad if you want to be one. It is bad if you want to be one. It is. You're selling your body for monetary value. And I'm not trying to be on a soapbox and try to like chastise or judge her, but I wouldn't want that for any woman that I know. I think it's sad, because if we remove the fact that you just get all this money for it, what else is there that provides? What? Empowerment? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because you want to know what happens when it's been proven in studies that people that have like all these different partners, they can't form lasting, loving relationships. It happens to women more so than men. It happens to me because I ain't gonna lie. I'm out here, I bust cheeks and everything like that. And every once in a while I get that weird, empty, dark feeling. But then I go read some manga that I'm good. But women feel that times 10. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've seen women that go through these things and it's not good for their mental. But I'm not gonna peddle this. That's wrong. That's dangerous. Yes, you're in the life and you're doing whatever you want to do, sure. But to make it seem like it's some great thing and that the people telling you that it's wrong to do, oh, they're just trying to keep you down and not have you. What? What are you talking about?
So unless you're out here fucking for free, or even worse, paying for men and being a fucking trick.
I hate to pause it, but like I said, she sees people as objects, as a way to gain monetary value. And that's what happens when you treat your body like an object. And I'm not saying she doesn't have respect for herself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to like condemn her or her actions. I'm not gonna condemn her and how she views herself, 'cause I'm not in her mind. I don't know what she's thinking. But what I am saying is that you're gonna look at it like, oh, God forbid you're paying for these men. So if we go out on a date and we have a good time and she decides to pay for me, she's losing out because what? We had a good time. We're probably gonna foster something great or have like a good relationship, a friendship. Like that seems useless to you because there's no money involved. Or better yet, I don't have to pay anything. She doesn't have to pay anything either. We just go have sex because she enjoys me. She enjoys my company. She wants to share that with me. So it's just kind of crazy. And like I said, this is sad. Well, this was sad, and now it's just kind of dangerous because it's like, what are you trying to promote? What are you trying to? What type of thinking are you trying to inspire in young women?
A man has had to financially earn your time and earn your company, right or wrong.
Like I said, I hate pausing it, but that's how some women get themselves in trouble with dealing with certain type of men, because they have not shit men or men that are wrong for these women, or just in general not good people that earn your time monetarily, and guess what? You get treated the same way. So to go back to our previous point of you keep finding the same men just in a different body, maybe because you make it so easy to get to know you. If you keep treating your body like it's an object that people could just pay for, whether it's dating or just prostitution, whatever one, and you keep coming across the same type of man, whose fault is that? If men aren't stupid, and yes, there's some degenerate men out there. If a man sees that you're the type of girl that all I gotta do is flash some money and then pay you a certain amount to give me the time of day, then guess what? Other men that aren't shit, that are terrible men, are going to see the same thing. They're going to do the same thing. Hence why you keep coming across the same type of man, just in a different body. Like I said, we need to sit down and think about what we do and what we attract and why we attract it. Because, you know, I guess being equally yoked and coming together with someone that's going the same direction as you and has the same morals, the same ethics, the same type of, that has good character, and dating for that is no good. You have to date for money. And yet we wonder why the dating scene is the way it is now. We wonder. Maybe because we have our like values fucked up.
So yes, it's all prostitution, just with different names. Essentially, dating is just men providing financially for women with hopes of, in return, receiving sex, a relationship, or marriage, which by definition is just prostitution. He's paying for the transaction with the woman.
So that's the end of it, thank God. Nothing against her, you know, if you want to go check out her content. Honestly, I don't even want to promote it like that, but I'm gonna give her respect, you know, her credit. But my final notes on this is, honestly, this is just kind of sad, because when you look through the comments, honestly, like you look through this, it's just a whole bunch of women that just agree. Like, look at this. Damn, I'm looking for love. And look at her. I found love 3 times, learned the hard way. Excuse me. I feel sorry for her. Honestly, I do. Keep looking back. Pros on his first date. What the fuck? Keep looking, babe. My fantasy pros on first. That makes him a narcissist, a psychopath. Pros on the first date is not normal. Also, marriage is subjugation for women. It doesn't benefit. Wow. Yeah. I gotta close this out. Look, whoever hurt you, I'm sorry. That's not all men. Yes, there are a lot of terrible men out there. I hope that she gets the help that she needs, but that's not what real love is. That's not what support. It's not any of that stuff. It's really not. You know, and I want to come out on a video, because I have notes for a video where I want to talk about for men and how they could do better, because men out here fucking up. Everyone's fucking up, to be completely honest. And, you know, it's certain principles, traits, and values that I think men should have, especially a good man. And it's something that men would really benefit from, and I think women would benefit to see, okay, if this man doesn't have at least some of these values, I can't even be dealing with him. And I want to do one for women, but I got to be careful when I construct that one. I'm not a woman, and I want to get as much information as I can to try to help women out, because I think women are also struggling here, you know, case in point, because I think women need more positive role models in their life to show them how to have proper discernment and how to choose the proper people that they should be involved with, and to have boundaries when it comes to dealing with people that they shouldn't be dealing with, you know. And I'll get into that in another video, but yeah, this is scary. This is scary. But yeah, but thanks for watching this video. Thanks for giving me a little bit of your time, and like and subscribe. See ya.